You're listening to Boomer's Brain Trust
I'm a frequent listener, and I like the show an awful lot.
with Johnny Dean and Dinah Smith. Call 877-PLANNER now.
Yes, give us a call, 877-PLANNER, P-L-A-N-N-E-R. If you have any questions at all, we're always here for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. 877-PLANNER, P-L-A-N-N-E-R. Okay, so with all this QE3 stuff going on, with the national debt still in this upward spiral, and yes, by the way, they will increase the debt limit. There's no question of that. There are real fears of inflation. Now, when it's going to happen and to what degree, of course, is anybody's guess, but many, I would say, if not most, economists agree that inflation is somewhere in our future. Rates cannot possibly stay this low forever. They're well below their mean. We have to start paying down this debt with cheaper dollars. It's got to be done at some point. Could we be in for a bout of hyperinflation? Is it going to be 1979 all over again? In many ways, I hope not. Chris Markowski is the consumer advocate and host of the Watchdog on Wall Street radio program. Great show. Well, he may have some answers for us, and he joins us here on the Boomers Lifeline. Chris, good to have you back again on the program with Johnny Dean and Dinah Smith. Thanks for joining us here.
Well, no, thank you for having me. Listening to what you were saying in regards to, inflation and when it's going to happen or when it might happen, I'm sorry, guys. I think it already has been happening. I think we're already in a hyperinflation type of a mode. If you take a look at the price of commodities over the past 10 years and what they have done, anything but skyrocket. I mean, I'm not understating this. They've gone through the roof. And if you look at the prior 8-9 decades, commodity prices have gone down. I mean, we just had for the first time ever the price of gasoline above $3 a gallon on average for over 1,000 days. I mean, everything from corn to wheat to frozen concentrated orange juice from Duke and Duke. We're already in the hyperinflationary.
You're hitting it exactly. You've hit it exactly, and that was going to be one of my questions to you, because I get an inflation number from the government that seems awfully, awfully low. They're telling me prices aren't high. I'm looking at things like you just mentioned, the frozen orange juice futures. I'm looking at gasoline. I'm looking at things that I buy every day, and I say, how can we not be in? How is it possible that inflation is 2% or whatever they're telling us? Do they have a different measure now than they did, say, way back in the 1960s or 70s when we had true inflation?
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt that the inflation numbers are devised in a different fashion. You can't trust anything that comes out of the government. They're going to give you whatever they'd like. And I'm a big believer that, exactly like you do, I would look at inflation as only things that people need to survive on. If you want to throw housing, you want to throw health care, food, energy costs, those are the numbers that affect everybody and whether they need to have to survive.
Oh, yeah.
And you watch the survival shows on TV. I mean, what are the things that the people need to actually make it through the survival show? Those are the things that are it. I mean, iPods are great that they come down in price. Televisions are great, but you can't eat them.
Well, see, there you go again. Okay, if it's not 2%, what do you think the real inflation number is? 6, 8, 15? Weimar Republic? What is it?
I think it's. Well, over time, you can look how some of how these things have gone over the years. If you want to take a look at it, you're probably around the double. You're probably looking around the rule of 7-8%.
Really?
Following just the numbers, what commodity prices have done. I mean, it's been a consistent 7-8%.
Hey, Chris, tell us about some of the risks that are associated with hyperinflation. I mean, those of us, who watched it go on in the 70s, we know what that felt like. What do we see happening now?
We're living it.
Well, yeah, but
employment numbers. You take a look at the economic numbers. What's going on in the country today is, we're living it. You got 46 million Americans on food stamps.
Yeah.
So everything that goes along with hyperinflation, we're experiencing today.
Well,
I mean, Weimar Republic, you talk about food, bread lines and all this stuff. Well, we do have bread lines. It's called food stamps. The same thing, right? It's just a different way of handing stuff out.
We're going to see the wheelbarrows full of money again. Well, we know now. Chris Markowski is our guest, by the way. A lot of fun with Chris. We'll try to have him on a regular basis if he'll have us. The Fed, of course, we know has been pumping money into the system past couple of years, right? This is what we're doing. It's called stimulus. You can call it Keynesian, whatever you want to call it. A lot of people say this is inflationary. Some people say, no, it isn't inflationary. But with this soft money policy, if it continues, are we going to see this affect the markets? Is it going to affect, I would assume, mortgages, small businesses? What's sort of the ripple effect here?
Well, I think the negative effect is that anybody with half a brain, and business owners out there, small business owners around the country, know that this is not real. They're aware of the fact that the Fed is keeping interest rates artificially low. Mm-hmm. And they're concerned about what's going to happen when things get back to a normal rate. I mean, the Fed's pumping money, but you're not seeing extraordinary velocity of money. I mean, put yourself in the shoes of a banker. Yeah, I'm going to lend out, money, hundreds of thousands of dollars for 3.5% for 30 years. Nah. Why bother? I mean, these are not real rates, and they know that they're not real. I mean, what the Fed is doing is funding government.
Yeah, of course.
What the Fed's doing, it's funding government. It's keeping government afloat. I mean, if the government had actually, if the treasuries would actually had afloat, people had to actually go out there and buy them, the interest rates that we'd be getting would be much higher, would be budget busting. Mm-hmm. And we'd be really completely in a mess at this point in time. It's basically keeping the government going.
We've got Janet Yellen in, or she will be in once the Senate confirms. So she'll be taking over supposedly after the 1st of February of next year. The one word we keep hearing with her is dovish, meaning, of course, that they're going to not care so much about inflation. They're going to keep up this sort of easing. They're going to keep pumping money into the economy. I mean, when is this all going to end? And is it going to end badly for us?
Oh, it already has. Like I said, we're living it. You're watching the stuff that's going on. You look at the failure of government. You look at the money and the waste that's going on. I mean, there was estimates this past week at Obamacare. The website alone costs anywhere between $98 million and $630 million for a website. This is the type of stuff that we're spending money on. It's inefficient use of money. We've got record tax revenues that are coming into the federal government at this point in time, despite the fact that we have high unemployment and a weak economic growth, and it's still not enough.
Chris Markowski,
it's an unsustainable business model at this point in time.
Well, hey, I got to agree with you. We're out of time, Chris. If people want to catch you on the radio or they want to get in touch with you, where do they go? They want more about you.
WatchdogOnWallStreet.com is our website.
Got it. All right. Hey, thanks very much. WatchdogOnWallStreet.com. He's our watchdog right here. Chris, thanks for joining us. Chris Markowski here on the Boomers Lifeline, Boomers Brain Trust. I tell you what, I've heard nothing but inflation talk. It's been. People have said we're going to see the 1970s all over again. Yeah. I'm not necessarily sure that that's true because of what we went through last time. The Fed is supposed to keep an eye on this stuff. They're supposed to walk the line, as we've said. Mm-hmm. You know, you got economic stimulus on one hand, it starts to fall too far one way, then you got to start easing off on that, it starts to fall the other way. It's really, there's no direction that I have yet to see. We're going to find out with Janet Yellen. It's going to be interesting. We're out of time. That's it. Dinah, thanks for joining us this week. I can't believe the week went by.
It flew.
Absolutely. If you need the Brain Trust, you can call us, 877-PLANNER, PLANNER. For the gang behind the scenes and Dinah Smith, I'm Johnny Dean. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.